Hi there and welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2021 Sunseeker 3050 SF. We are just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice, you got your observation camera right up top connected with your tail light there. You got your ladder set so you can get up and periodically check all your seals. You do have a 2-inch receiver as well as a 7-pin plug-in. Just keep it in mind the weight capacity that comes with that. And then you do have a propane quick connect line coming right out the back. The way that works is pretty simple. Closing the valve, you can pull that collar back, insert your quick connect line, which you can get through our parts department. And then to open up the flow, you're just opening up that knob. It's gonna lock just as an added safety feature. It's good for portable barbecues or if you have anything else that runs propane. Pretty inexpensive line if you'd like to go with that. And then on the driver's side, right at the back here, you got your coax plug-in for your TV. And then you do have your 30 amp twist lock connection. You just take a note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on this side. You're just firmly pushing that into place, 8th turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this and you can plug right on in, but let's say you have the unit at home or your campsite only has 15 amp service. We do include a 15 amp park adapter, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. Just keep it in mind if you're on 15 amps of power, it's not going to be enough to run the air conditioner. It really is just to run your fridge and your lights. Inside this compartment here, folding that down, you got your RV starter kit. Comes with that 10-foot sewer hose, 15-foot water hose, and then that 15 amp park adapter, which I've already told you about, and then just some other miscellaneous goodies. And there is that 15 amp park adapter that I did tell you about just now. And then located in the compartment right next to it is going to be your main sewage area / water hookup. So if you come down, you're going to notice you got 2 valves, a black valve and a gray valve. You're always going to want to empty the black valve first, as it can be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. You're just taking and twisting this end off. Those 2 ears are the same ears that your sewer hose is going to have. They just line up with the notches on the other end and lock into place like so. And then you do have your exterior shower with hot and cold water. And then you got your city water connection. So if you're at a site with service, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all those lines without the need to run your water pump. And then you do have your black tank flush. Whenever you are using this, you're going to notice this sticker. It's very important that you do have the sewer connected and your black tank open, that's because you're pushing pressure into the tank. If the pressure's got nowhere to go, it could expand to the point of cracking. Gas fill for the chassis. Got some storage space in these compartments here. Inside this one, if you open it up, you do got a little garbage disposal. And there's a cap inside, which I'll show you once we get in there. In this last compartment here, just opening that up, and then of course unlocking it with the key, which is just inside here. Does open up with your standard 751 key. It should come included with your unit. You're just sticking that key in there and unlocking it. It'll allow you to open that up. It is just a service port for your generator. There's gonna be a drain plug right down underneath for your oil. And then if you pop this cover off, you're gonna see you do got an oil dipstick. You got a start-stop switch in case the one inside fails. I am gonna go over starting and stopping it inside because that's where you're gonna mainly wanna do it. And then you do got that air filter, which you wanna periodically check. You just gotta get it nice in place. Once it's in place, you can close those 2. Around the front of the unit, you got your standard Ford chassis. It's gonna be like in a standard truck. And then come to the passenger side of the unit, unlocking those 2. You do got a little exterior TV entertainment area. Then you got your propane area, flipping that down. You got your fill stuff here, which you're not gonna have to worry about because it does have to be a certified attendant to fill that. And then you got that valve, of course, opening it all the way. Opens up the flow of propane to the unit, which is counterclockwise. And then closing it is righty-tighty clockwise. Closes the flow. You also do have a level gauge here. You are going to notice it is half full, but at the time of pickup, we will ensure that it is full. This is going to be more storage inside here. Then you do have your hot water service port here. Flipping that guy open. It's only really a couple things you got to worry about inside here. Whenever you first get to your campsite, giving that pressure relief valve, you should get a shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's full. I have summarized the unit, but I did drain all the tanks and all the lines, just because we're still dipping to close to zero, just to ensure that there's no failures. And then you got an 1 1/8 drain bolt right down here at the bottom. You got some more space here, and you're gonna notice we do have a little air line here. There's an onboard compressor inside this unit, which I did forget to show you, so we'll go back to the driver's side quick, just so I can show you that. Come into this side here. If you open up that door, whenever you have keyed power on, if you have this on, the compressor is going to fill the rear bags of the unit to a standard 50 psi. If you were to turn this off, it does drain those tanks and dump all the air out of the bags. Typically, you are just going to want to leave that on, but if you really don't have anything in here, it's going to be a little bit of a smoother ride just with the air dumped. Hot water. Your furnace exhaust, whenever that's running, is going to be blowing out hot air, so be mindful of that. Coming into this compartment here, flip that guy down. You're going to notice you do have another little false panel here. Just got to unlock that, and I'll flip that down. This is where you get your water filter. I didn't install this one yet, just because we're not sure how soon you're going to be using the unit, so I just supplied it. It is just simple as loosening this off, and then you would just throw that guy inside there. You got your fresh tank drain, so opening, technically it's closing this valve, allows all the water to drain, and with it in line like so, it does close it. You got your bypass hose, and there is a little valve behind here, so when it came time to winterization, if you were to do that yourself, you just have to turn that valve, stick this into your pail of antifreeze, and run that through. Now, the cold low point drain is hooked up with the fresh tank drain, and your hot line drain is just down right below here. If you're going to take that cap off, it's going to drain all the water inside those lines. And then we've got another storage compartment on the other side here, and then you do have your fresh tank fill right up top. Take that cap off. If you're out boondocking, your site doesn't have water, you just put a garden hose in there, turn it on, and that is what's going to fill your fresh tank. Whenever you're filling that fresh tank, just be mindful once it starts getting over full, that is a vent hose, so that will start squirting out water once it starts getting full, so just be mindful of that. If you're standing in front of it, you're going to get wet. Opening up the door, first thing you notice is that fire extinguisher off on your right. That's pretty simple. Pull the pin and shoot. Up on the wall right up top here, you do have your solar controller. We do include all the manuals because there's a few different settings you can play with, but it does get pretty in depth. You got a couple different switches here. These two light switches turn on a porch light and the awning LED light. And then right next to it, you do have your awning control. Pushing and holding that extend button will allow that awning to start making its way out. Once it's fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and a little flap hang down. Unfortunately today, due to space, I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it all the way out, but we'll be able to get it pretty close and show you the rest of the features of this awning. Sometimes that flap can get stuck, so just you got to retract it quick. Unfortunately, that's all we're going to be able to go out, but if you come to the arm here, pull down front and center before it starts raining. This changes the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to now run off. If you like that angle better because it allows for more shade, you can do the same thing with the front arm, just making sure you do push both those arms back straight before you try bringing the awning in. That way you don't run the risk of bending anything or ripping the fabric. Bringing it in, this is as simple as holding the retract button. The awning would start rolling in, and once those arms contacted the side of the trailer, it would just automatically cut the motors. Battery disconnect on the far side there. With it in the on position like it is now, the batteries are connected to the unit. If you return it to the off position, the batteries would become disconnected from the unit, and in which case it also disables the rest of the 12-volt stuff inside. So if your battery's disconnected, even though you're plugged in, you're still not going to get any 12-volt power, so just be mindful of that. Stabilizer system, pretty standard. Push the power button. You can run everything manually just by pressing each button, or you can just hit auto level. It's going to automatically level the unit. Once the unit's level, it's just going to beep, and then you got retract all. Hitting that obviously retracts all the jacks back up. Underneath here is just where we house your batteries. Right here, this little lock, it is a little safety deposit box. So if you'd like to put your valuables in there, that's where you could put them. And it does lock up. Taking a step on inside, right up on the wall here, you got the rest of your control panel kind of. You got your 2 living room and kitchen lights. You got your generator start stop switch. So before you ever go to fire the generator, you're just holding that stop prime button for about 10 seconds. That red light should come on. That's just priming the carburetor with fuel. The unit does have to be over a 1/4 tank of gas for the generator to fire. Hold that start button. The generator does fire right on up, and after a few minutes of running, it would hit that transfer switch and you'd have 120 power inside here. Stop button just to kill it. And then you got your different levels. So you got LPG, battery, fresh, black, and gray, and that's just got the corresponding levels right next to it. And then you got 2 different options for the water heater. You can fire it up on electric, which is the more efficient option, but of course it doesn't heat the water as fast. And then you got gas, which is less efficient but heats the water the quickest. You can fire it on either or. But before you do ever fire anything on gas, if you've had the system off for a while, it allows air into the system. So just when I first get to my campsite, I'm turning on my gas. I just fire up my stove quick because it's the easiest to purge all the air out of the lines. And then it makes firing everything else easy because it's not going to be throwing any fault codes at you. Then you got your water pump switch, which does draw out of the fresh tank. Arctic pack system. So that's essentially just heating pads attached onto the bottom of the tanks. They say it's for extended camping season, but if you do camp anything below 0, you are running the risk of freezing things, so just be mindful of that. Then, of course, you got your driver's side rear light. It's just a little light above the dump station, so if you're ever dumping or hooking up power at night, you got a little bit of light to do so. Then you got your slide out operation switch. To run the slide out, you do have to have the key in the accessory position in the ignition, and you do have to have the parking brake set. Once all that is done, hit the slide out button. Slide out's going to start making its way out. Once fully extended, you are just going to hear the motors wind up and cut out. And there's that. Now up in the front bunk space, pretty standard front top bunk. This is also where your TV is located. You got this little piece that folds out and locks in place for a little extended sleeping area. Ladder just stores back here, clips right into the wall, so that way when you're traveling, it's not banging into anything. You can just hook it into this. But whenever you're traveling, I would recommend you putting this up. It just allows for a little bit more headspace. Now there is tons of accent lighting on their own center switches, all underneath the cabinets, so you can get exploring with that once you first get it. Then you got your sound system for the unit, which is pretty standard, just like home, minus the fact of your A, B, and C speakers. A is going to be your rear set of speakers, B is going to be the front set of speakers for the unit, and your C is going to be for your 2 exterior speakers on your awning arms. Other than that, pretty standard. You got AM, FM, USB, and aux ports, of course. Opening up here, you're going to notice this little switch here. It does turn on this, it's a Wi-Fi booster, I do believe, and if you were to buy a system through this company, you could get a SIM card, you could have Wi-Fi in here all the time. There isn't a SIM card included and no plan, so just be mindful of that. It's just acting as a booster right now. Over here, again, coax plug-in, some more storage space. You got this couch, which does fold out into a bed. You're just having to grab the foot of the couch, fold it on out. Set this stuff here. kind of work with it a little bit. Once it's down, putting everything down like that, and you have a nice little sleeping space if you ever have guests. Then to fold it back in, you're just kind of grabbing the foot of it and grabbing the top of it, working it back into place. You do have to move the center cushion a little bit. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them, and then one quick pull will allow them to retract back up. Here you have another seating space with a little dinner table, and of course it does also fold out into a bed. You're just having to grab the front of the table, lift up, and pull towards you. It's going to allow that to fold down, in which case you would have to remove these cushions out of place for in the meantime. Once you got this down and in place, you could take all your cushions and put them back on, and it would be another bed. Then to get it back up, it's just simple as lifting again, making sure it locks into place. It is on a gas strut. You do have storage throughout the unit, and because this unit is equipped with propane, you got your LP detector right here near the ground. If that guy were to ever start going off, you are just getting to worrisome levels inside this unit, so just turn off the main supply of propane, open up some windows and vents just to ventilate it out a little bit. And another thing I'll mention, it's very sensitive to cleaning chemicals, so if you're ever cleaning the floor, spray a chemical around it and it starts going off, use your best judgment, but if you have no propane running, it's probably just the cleaning chemicals, so you can silence it. You do got a wireless phone charger, sink with hot and cold water, this little cap here, pulling that off, that is what goes where the garbage goes. Again, storage throughout the unit. Flipping this back, you come to your stove, turning that on, turns on those accent lights, and then you can turn it to your high options and hit that igniter, and it does fire right on up. But like I was telling you earlier, when I brought up purging the system, sometimes it can take a few seconds to purge all the air out of there, so you just got to be patient with it. Got your microwave right down below, which is pretty much just like home. Not much I need to show you there. You got your fridge. Opening that up, controls for that are right here. Hitting your different set button is going to take you between your different temperature controls, and then of course pushing and holding it for 5 seconds is going to turn the fridge off or on. Right below the fridge, you have this false panel here. It's held in with 4 screws in each corner. Take those 4 screws out, the false panel is going to move out of the way. That gives you access to your bypass valves for your water heater. Right next to it, you do got your main fuse and breaker panel. Whenever a breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it, and you have all your fuses on your left. Inside here, a nice little feature. Pulling that door, it's on a little magnetic strap. You got this travel strap here. I always recommend using it whenever you pull it in or out. It's just, if you forget to latch it, this can come flying out at you when you're driving. And it just pulls out. Nice little pantry space. Before we step into the bathroom area, you're going to notice you got this door here. It also has a travel lock, so that when you're driving, it's locked into place, so it can't go anywhere. Pulling that down, that'll allow you to close that in case you want to use the bathroom. It can also lock closed. Step on into the bathroom. Light switch is just right here above your head. Nice little skylight. It also comes with a little shade. You got your main GFI plug. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd look. You got test on the bottom, reset up top. Then of course you just got your sink and your storage underneath. Opening up this door gets you into the bathroom. This little towel hanger, hot and cold water at the shower, toilet, flushers on the right. You also have a roof vent in here, light switch. The other switch does do the roof vent fan. You do already have max air covers equipped on this unit, so that's a nice little feature you already got. Travel strap on the shower door. Noticing the shower door is glass, so if that was sliding freely, very likely it'll smash. Now taking a step into the bedroom. Light switch on the left. Standard bedroom. Storage all around. You got some reading lights above your head. TV. Another little cool feature. There's a little tab, metal tab beside the TV. If you pull it, it'll open that up. It does give you access into another storage space. You also have a couple plugins in here in case you were to hook up a DVD player or anything. And then it does just snap into place. Now you got your thermostat for the unit. Pushing that power button, it's going to bring you to the last mode that you were on. We're currently on cool. So when you're in cool, up and down at any time to change your set room temperature. Whenever you have the fan in auto, it's going to pick the best fan setting based off how much you're going to have to cool off the room. You can change that by pressing the fan button, changing it to medium, high, or low. But whenever you don't have it in auto, it's not an on-demand system, so the fan is going to run full time. So just be mindful of that whenever you're using it. Next is dry. That's just the dehumidifying mode, so it's going to try and take as much moisture out of the air as possible. Hitting the mode button one more time gets you into heat. Now that kills your air conditioner and fires up your furnace. Your furnace does only have one fan speed that runs constantly, and it moves all its air through the floor portals we have throughout the unit. And then you can just run the fan on the air conditioner that just to move some air around if you'd like to do that. Power button to turn it off. Whenever you are running the air conditioner, you got two different options you can use. You can run these levers open, in which case it'll dump all its air into the main living space, or you can close them off and it'll move the air through the ceiling ducting you have throughout the unit. That is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.